Hello, everybody. Welcome, Jen. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully, we'll get some more people coming as well. I'm Aley at Heart and Soul Connected, and I'm so pleased to be here today with Medium Kim, who is. When did you come in, Kim? Did you come in December and open a
Over
channel?
two, no, not
Yeah.
that long ago, maybe a month or two ago.
Oh, that's it.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Well, you're doing very well then for coming in for just a month
yeah,
ago.
6 weeks.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, we're glad to have you in our family. We do consider it a family here. Hi, Janet. I'm glad you're here. We tend to call it our family that we choose, and it's always nice to have that. When I was in the '90s, when I was doing a lot of metaphysical learning and teachings and so on. In Florida, we used to meet about once a week and do drum circles and all kinds of stuff, and it was so nice. But now
Mhm.
with COVID and everybody's everywhere, so this is always a great place to be.
Well,
So,
thank you for having me, Allie.
oh, of
I love
course.
the show. Like I just said, I just discovered it, and
Good.
I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of topics, and you're very well educated. You've been studying for a long time,
Yeah.
and I really have enjoyed listening to you. And so,
Oh,
thank you
thank
for
you.
having me.
Yeah, I wanted you to come. I was so pleased. And then when Susan knew you too. Is Susan the one who gave you your name, Medium
Yeah,
Kim? All
yes.
right.
Well, no, she knew my name, but she affirmed that it was okay.
Yeah, yeah. Good.
I had a reading
Sis.
with her, and
Uh-huh.
we talked about my name, and she said, "Well, maybe we need to, maybe you need to change the name." But then we went back and forth, and I just kept it.
I like it. It's okay.
Well, it's
Yeah.
short and easy to remember, I hope.
Oh,
But
it definitely is. Definitely is. Thank you.
and I was yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. What did you
Oh,
want to say?
yeah, I was just going to
It's
say,
very easygoing.
I started the channel was to help people reduce fear and anxiety, which I feel like there's a lot of fear and anxiety about death and dying.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
that was one of my goals here to help people with that. It's a
I applaud that so much. I can't even begin to tell you. I have studied it. My daughter's a therapist, and she's studied it. And she and I have gone to many seminars, and I have not done hospice work, which I'd like to hear about in a few minutes. But um, I'm a literature teacher, and we do a lot of reading around death and dying.
uh,
And it sounds morbid to a lot of people, but if we don't face it, if we can't talk about it, if we're uncomfortable about it, it makes it really hard for us to live a full life, I think. So,
mhm.
and so, you are a nurse, am I right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And did you start out as a hospice nurse?
No, and nursing is my second career, but I started out in home care mainly. Well, I mean, actually, my first job was in the hospital, in
Okay.
cardiac on the cardiac floor. But then I did home care for a couple years, and then when I found out about hospice, it's like that's where I needed. I felt like that's where I wanted to work, and I kept applying and applying and applying until I finally got on. Um,
Oh,
and it was
wonderful.
the idea of the holistic care,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
because they have dog therapy and dogs are important. I mean, I love dogs. So, you
Me
know,
too.
cat
Yep.
therapy, art therapy, music therapy. They had healing touch, Reiki,
Oh,
raised
wow.
that art. They had so it's just the whole team. Pro-
Right. A
of,
team approach.
yes.
But I call it interdisciplinary approach, which
Yes.
is exactly how I like to do my classes. That's great.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great.
And I was even in
So,
shamanism in the
uh,
beginning, that first year. So that was exciting too.
ooh, very exciting. So, I know you posted recently an animal communication that you had, or a channel, maybe it was,
Yes.
I don't know. It
Yes.
was a channel?
Yes.
Yes. Through an animal, though, or
Yeah.
through a spirit. I don't know.
Well, let's see what I did. I traveled through to what I thought was dog heaven.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
Yep.
to me, I visited dog heaven, and it was really lovely.
That's what they say, and I'm glad you affirmed that because that rainbow bridge is there, and all of the dogs are supposed to greet us when we get there, and I'm hoping that that's that's exactly. I'll have a whole bunch of them because I love them so much.
Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Uh, yes, and actually, one of the things I want to do in the near future is have an animal healing circle for the people on YouTube to just
Good.
maybe bring their picture of their pet, and we'll do a little healing, maybe do some mediumship with the animals, and I thought that was nice to do too.
It would be. It would be wonderful. I've never talked with an animal communicator or a person that communicates with animals. I've had different psychics come through
Hmm.
with things about my animals being around me and stuff, but
Hmm.
I never had that. I wanted to say hi to T. Barb and Tanya. Thank you very much for coming by.
Oh,
We're just having a little bit of get to know you here. Um, so you worked. Was it like a group home, or is it that has all of those components?
okay. So now at that time I was living in Colorado Springs, and
Okay.
okay, and so that hospice, Pikes Peak Hospice, has home care unit and also an inpatient unit. And I
Okay.
worked in the home care, but occasionally
Okay.
I would go to the inpatient, but not all the time. But I would go in, see the inpatient also.
Sure.
Uh huh.
Sure.
Yeah.
There is a man that I've read, I've followed for many, many years, Danyon Brinkley. I don't know if you've
Uh,
heard of him.
oh
Yeah,
yes,
you've heard of Danyon, of
yes.
course. But he works now with hospice. Mostly, I think he works with the veterans that are in hospice. But
Okay.
he has that quality, and there's something about it's funny. I'm reading this book called Beauty, and it talks about the voice of our soul and
Hmm.
how you can tell someone is compassionate by how they can speak, but not speak in general language, but speak directly from the soul, which is a deeper level.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I almost think that there are special people like yourself that are called to work that way with hospice, and you're sort of like the angels of the earth. That's the way I look at you. You may not think that way all the time about yourself, which is okay, but others, you don't. Not all people can do this.
Well,
Not all
that's
people.
true, but I couldn't do auto mechanics either. So we all have our
Yeah,
own angelic place to be. You
we
know,
do.
we think we can be angels anywhere in any field.
Sure.
So yeah.
I agree with that. When you were with any of these people, whether it was an animal or it was a person, were you with them when they passed, and were you either talking or holding their hands or?
Sure.
Yeah.
But often, yes.
Okay.
So, and it's special. It's very special.
It is.
What, what,
Yep.
what I noticed at that moment is that they finally had let go.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
It takes a while. I do believe in, maybe it's in the Buddhist tradition where they talk about, having to let go just one piece at a time.
Right.
And that's what we have to do before we can actually transition.
It reminds me of people that wait and wait at the deathbed of their parent or their loved ones, and then they say they got to go to the bathroom or they got to go get a drink of water, and they come back and they've passed.
Right.
It's like it depends on how comfortable the person is, I believe, that's dying with the ones in the room. If
Yes.
there are people that are anxious or, that would be much harder to pass with those
Oh,
people.
yes. And you can hold somebody even energetically, even without touching them, but energetically still hold them, you know,
Right.
even if
Yes.
you're in the room. And of course, if you're a little farther out, it makes it a little bit easier for those people to pass. Yes.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
has
There.
to come to pass when somebody's not there.
Right. The COVID deaths it's probably I'm not a religious person with regard to heaven and hell, but I would say that that's a hell for those people just because they don't have anybody. And fortunately, some of the care workers did stay with them, but of course, that's not their family or the people that they, you know,
Well,
wanted to
that,
necessarily be with.
that is true as far as, not having that physical person, but I believe that their spiritual team is there.
Yeah,
And as
that's
somebody's transitioning, they're halfway in. It's not like it's all of a sudden we make a
right,
transition. So they're still aware of the spiritual team around them, even though maybe the physical team isn't there. So I think that's
right.
a little comforting, in that.
Hmm. And also, isn't it true that some people see the spirits of like their mother, their father, or whoever on the other side that are coming to see them as they pass?
Most people.
Most
Yeah,
people.
it's not even just a little bit, but I would say most. Even just doesn't even matter whether they have a belief system or not, or whether they
Uh-huh.
ever talked about it or whatever church they went to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they just show up. The spirit people show up.
Sure. That's great. I just noticed T. Barb wrote she's close to her dad's hospice nurse and
Uh huh.
both very spiritual. She was definitely my dad's angel and the same as a loving dog. Yes,
Oh,
this is what we mean, I think, when it comes to those of you who do the work.
mm-hmm,
There's
mm-hmm,
no, a lot of it's ego, I guess, that people would say, "Oh no, I'm not I'm just a person that does this," but no, it isn't. It's work that you're called to do, and
mm-hmm.
so it's totally fascinating.
Yeah.
Uh, Laurie Sue says, "Have you ever heard of Cash
Oh,
Peters? Have
yeah.
you? Oh yeah, isn't he great?" I just found out Cash Peters has some books on Amazon. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he says animals pass without baggage. And yeah, I would say they probably do, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, last night I was in touch with my golden retriever who passed in the summer. And
Uh-huh.
she kept saying, "Don't you feel me? Don't you feel me? Don't you feel?" I'm like, she said it like 3 times. "Don't you feel me?" And I
Mhm.
think the thing is we can be open to receiving a presence of either our pets or our spirit people, and
Right.
we're more likely to feel them if we just take a moment to relax and listen or
And
feel.
listen.
You
Yeah.
know, with the
It's yeah, listening with your heart, not your ears. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. I was going to say, so one of the interesting things that I just found out, this is a tidbit of interest. you know,
Sure.
as a hospice nurse, I help prepare the people here, right? Of course.
Hmm.
Then sometimes as a medium, I sometimes notice the spirit people as well, waiting, getting the party ready, or whoever it is. It could be the angels, it could be the pets. So there's a variety of different beings that appear
Right.
before, and it's different for everybody.
Sure.
But anyway, so I feel like I'm kind of like gathering the people, getting them. Not It's not really a party here, but like a send off. But my
Yes.
mother, who is in spirit, told me through another medium actually a couple weeks ago, and I never thought of this. I mean, I know she helps me. I can feel her a lot when I'm doing my nursing work. But she
Uh-huh.
said she is like a party planner on the other side. So
That's great.
So when I'm working with this group, she's working with the group meeting them, helping plan the party.
Hmm.
So is
Hmm.
it
Well, was she kind of like that? Not maybe not a party planner, but she was sort of like involved in bringing people together on this side.
well,
Yeah.
maybe. She
Okay.
didn't long enough to do all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm.
she's getting the chance to do it now, and she's enjoying that as
She
she.
did.
Okay.
And she
Oh,
helped comings and goings of different people. So she's talked about, when people are on the other side, they still have a job, they still have interests, they still, whether it's gardening or spirituality, they still do that. And
right. Right.
so she talked about one, that she's this party planner, and then two, she's also helps with children um, who coming and going, the children that are leaving the spirit world coming, and also the children that are returning to the spirit world. So
Yes.
other job.
Right. So I think I asked somebody, maybe it was Susan or somebody else, this question, and my wonder is like, what group is there? I know there's a group of people that are star seeds and so forth that have sort of come over now,
Uh-huh.
but I'm wondering this whole millennial generation is totally different,
Right.
really, than a lot of other generations, and I wonder if they have a group karma, and
Mm.
I don't know. Any thoughts about that or
They do seem to know the truth more. They
yes.
read out the
That's
truth. And
yes.
I think at this time on earth, the truth is coming out,
It is.
you know,
It is.
and
Yeah.
throughout the world. It's not just in the United States, and it's not just in families. So that's
Right.
like one of the things is the truth. They also are
Right.
very intuitive as a
Uh-huh. Oh, they are.
general
Yeah. Yeah.
rule. Yeah.
Hmm.
So maybe
That's
it's the time for the
maybe.
truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, I know that there have been children that were on a YouTube channel. I saw a young boy who reincarnated. He was Air Force RAF fighter pilot or something, and he came back and he could remember his past life, and he met his wife and kids, and but that doesn't really always happen that way because the veil of forgetting comes down fast on younger people. So, it's not
Right.
always easy.
But I think the newer people that are coming, and we're
Hmm.
doing a more rapid turnover,
Yeah.
with people,
Yeah.
I think they are going to be able to remember more. Our DNA, I believe our DNA is changing so that we are remembering past lives easier and
Yeah.
longer.
And longer.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, that's awesome because, there's nothing better than listening to a child tell me things that there's no way they knew. And they're telling me like it's a fact. It's the truth.
Yes.
And it is probably their truth and the truth that they've felt from their soul level. So it seems to me like maybe we could even say their souls have expanded larger than a lot of us on this side.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also say the same of people with dementia. They're very much in tune to the spirit world as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it isn't as bad as we think because that's sure a scary thought. Anybody losing their minds, basically.
Yeah.
But if they can communicate and have knowledge of the other side, or have, then that makes me happier to think about
Yeah.
it that way.
They say
Yeah,
they have a little respite from
they
this,
do.
by being able to communicate with the spirit world. But as a general rule, also, I think they are ready to go. But it's like we kind of, as society, we kind of feel like we should keep people as long as possible,
I know.
which
I
is not doing anybody a favor.
know. I remember telling my dad, who was in really bad pain and really suffering, that as far as I was concerned, if he was ready to go be on with mom, go ahead. You need to do that. Giving him permission, even though that wasn't my job to do. But I felt like I didn't want to tether him to this world if he was undergoing such pain and agony either.
Well,
So
yes, I absolutely.
yeah,
There's a lot of things that can hold us here, even oxygen tubing.
well, that makes sense. Well, there are some people like the what is it, DMX, the rapper that was just on, wasn't he just on oxygen, but he was brain dead, I believe, or something, and they didn't want to let him go. And I understand, but no one wants to let anybody go, really. It's us. We're selfish. It's not necessarily for the best intention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If we could all just, to me, if we could all celebrate the new beginning that people are about to experience,
Yes,
and they're not
absolutely.
gone forever, they just are different.
Right. They're
Right.
in a different space, but very close by. And there should, if and so you bring up a really good point as well, because um, when people are faced with having to send somebody to hospice, or when they have a loved one or themselves have to go to hospice, um, the built-in fear around death and the knowing that hospice is end of life care,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
must be it's a difficult decision. And the reason I know this in my life is because I had a lifelong friend who I'd known for 50 years. We grew up together as just little tots. And she was a nurse, and she didn't believe she had cancer. It was ravaging her. She didn't believe she was going to die, number one, and she would not go to hospice care. And she basically, she was denying the truth, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And that's that holding on that you're talking about as well. That we, gonna hold on with my fingernails and
Yeah,
not go. Yeah.
yeah. It is a transition. The whole thing is a transition. It's always, of course, to me, people come into hospice a little too late because of this holding on. But the
Right.
earlier they can come in, then the
Mhm.
more that we can help in hospice,
Right.
more whether the resources and just also preparing,
Yes.
and it's the whole
Yes.
same approach. And so it is a preparing, and you can take advantage of the counselor or the chaplain if you want a chaplain, all
Sure.
those. And the chaplains don't have to be religious at all. Sometimes they just come and talk or play
Hmm.
music, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
I didn't know you could be in hospice for years, T. Barb. That surprises me. I thought it was, like 6 months or less. I did not realize that. I guess it's different in some of the states or
Well,
something.
actually, Medicare does say it is this is nationwide. It has to be 6 months or less diagnosis, a terminal diagnosis with 6 months or less. But what
Oh.
happens is you evaluate people
Hmm.
every 3 months, 2 months, and you see where are they still declining or are they getting better. Some people graduate and they get better and they get off of
Sure.
hospice. Some
Sure.
people just have a really slow decline. I did have somebody for 7 years.
Oh
So
my Lord. Oh
so it
wow.
can be
Yeah.
such a slow decline, you
Yes.
see. But what a wonderful thing to have the support to me,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
um,
It is. It
uh-huh.
is. It's a wonderful thing to feel supported by
Hmm.
um, those you love and those who are there to care for you.
Hmm.
Um, I know I'm going back and forth here. I can't help it, but dogs
Yeah,
are just
dog.
dogs are. I don't know about the rest of you, and thank you all, Sharon. I see you, Lori, and others who have come in that I had not recognized. Barb, that when's the right? I've euthanized one, two, three, four of my dogs over my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually had a dog that just I woke up and they were gone. I never
Hmm.
had that.
Hmm.
Each time my dog had some kind of physical issue of
Hmm.
which I went the long term to fix, and so did my husband. Like with one dog, she had bladder cancer, and we put her on raw dog food, and we gave her a cranberry, and I mean, she lived another 3 years. They wanted to put her on, um, what is it called? Chemotherapy. And I said, no, no, you can't tell a dog, okay, we're going to have some chemotherapy today. No, no. But I just lost my big dog, Sable, who I mentioned was last couple Mondays ago, and she was really my husband's dog, and he said he couldn't make the decision,
Hmm.
and so he asked me how I knew about the others when I made the decisions, and I said I don't know. There is no right way to know, but it's almost as though you just know. Do you have any advice for anybody, or do you have any feeling around that?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's not the same for every pet, right? Some
Right.
pets do want to kind of hang on. But what I
Yeah.
find most of the time, if you're even considering it, most of the time, they're ready. Usually they're,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
they don't, because it is easier for them to make that transition and they do have less baggage. It's hard for us, like, oh,
Right. Right.
but most of the time they are like, please don't let me suffer, especially if there's pain. So this is what I would look. What's the quality of life?
That's what I thought of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
pain, right? Is the pain controlled or not? And the thing is about pain with dogs or cats, they don't
They
tell
don't
you,
tell us.
and they
Right.
pretend they're not in pain. So you
Hmm.
have to intuit if they're in pain or not. And one of the ways I do that is as an empath, we probably can, almost everybody I bet you watching this show can do this, is you get with intention, you get close to that pet or person and feel in your body and feel like how would it be in their body? You know what I mean? Like, okay, carry their body in your body, and is there pain?
Hmm.
Then you can kind of tell because they often will pretend because it's a weakness. Pets don't want to,
Correct.
animals don't want to, don't want to show pain.
Correct. Well, this one, with the most interesting thing about this one is she just simply stopped eating.
Okay.
And so 5 days, 6 days went by. I mean, she drank water, but she wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
eat. And we were desperate to have her eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband got a turkey baster and started shoving that down her throat with some like soup and she did okay with it. She didn't reject it. I said, this is terrible.
Yeah,
I
no.
said, it's
Yeah,
bad for you. It's bad for her.
right.
This is no quality. So I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
tell people with people, this goes the same with people. people and
Mm.
pets, that when
Yep.
somebody, a pet or a person, stops eating or drinking, it's because they're dying.
Right.
They're
Right.
not dying because they're not eating.
Okay. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that differentiation. Yeah.
Hmm. So that's
Um,
a signal right there.
well,
That
yeah,
new.
she
That's
had a ulcer on her tongue as well. So I'm sure that what if she even wanted to eat, she wasn't able to do it.
okay. Hmm.
Yeah, but still, I agree with you. I
It,
agree with you. If they're not eating, they're not interested in living because, everybody loves to eat most of the time. Yeah,
yeah, and it's a natural process. Our body naturally knows not to eat.
right,
It's
right.
so we usually can't even metabolize it. And I've seen people do the same thing. You put a syringe in their mouth and try to force them, but that really does no good, and it's uncomfortable, and it's also undignified.
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Lori Sue says that animals mentally, physically, and emotionally deal with pain different, which, yep, and their
Mm-hmm.
passing is easier met than humans.
Yes.
Um, I've
Mm-hmm.
had dogs actually. Um, I didn't realize this. I have a dog that I got it last August, and after losing one last April, and she's a little Shih Tzu. And I used to have a corgi that would always sit on my stomach, get up on the bed and lay down on my stomach. And she ended up with a tumor in her
Oh,
stomach, and
oh,
I felt like I passed it
mhm.
to her. You
Yeah.
know, this new one comes up and lays on my stomach,
Uh-huh.
and I think she's the reincarnation of that other one.
Maybe, maybe.
But
Hmm.
do you think that animals can I don't know what the word
Yeah.
is,
They take
get
on
the
your,
pain?
well,
Mm.
they take on what I think um, is that if they're human, if their caregiver human is maybe getting sick or something, they'll take it on to protect the human.
Yeah, they're sacrificial.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
they're amazing. Animals are
they
amazing.
are.
It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. It's like, oh, I remember what my golden retriever said before she left, and she was almost 14. And she said,
Okay.
but I'm worried about you. I'm worried about my son. I have a son who's having some issues, and she was
Mm.
worried about that. So she really wasn't quite ready to go. And I kept thinking, oh, she's got to be. I mean, look at her. She's barely, can get up and everything. And even one day I thought, oh, this has got to be the last day. I took her to the beach. We did all this, and I even put a cape on her, a silk cape. And I said, okay, this is our last time. We're just going to go outside and have your cape on so you can look outside, and then it's probably about time to go to the vet, right? No,
Right.
she walked around the whole lake with her cape on.
She says, "I'm going to do this. This is great."
So she was still here 3 months later. So it's like,
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Yep, not quite ready. It's like my Chloe. They said, oh, she'll only live about 6 months. But when I gave her, and she ate it, she ate the food. We didn't have to force her. She
mhm.
stayed another 3 years. She said, no, I'm not really going to buy that, what they're saying right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
it wasn't, she wasn't suffering. They told me it wouldn't get any bigger. And, she wasn't in pain, but
Mhm.
that she had this tumor in a place they couldn't get. So
Mhm.
that's cute with the cape. I
Oh,
love that.
that's what I think we should do with people too. You put a crown on their head, maybe whatever you can to honor their life here,
Right, right.
so that it's
Yep,
special. Flowers, silks, whatever.
right. Yep.
Make it
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah,
Make them on.
definitely.
No matter even if they're 99 years old and they have all total. You just put a crown on their head. Just
Right, right. Yep. No, why not? Yeah. There's a fellow that works in a nursing home that I know that goes in and paints the fingernails of the ladies in there.
yes.
And she said, "What color would you like?" And he said, and she said, "Oh, just clear is fine." And he said, "Oh no." He said, "We're gonna do this right." And he put on like some pink, beautiful. And he said, "I want a picture of those hands. Those hands have been everywhere." So
Yes.
just admiring the life that we have had, and it can be done in so many small ways that say, I know you're here. And I think that's so important. I see you. I know you're here. We're part of the same whole. That's
Mm-hmm.
great.
Yeah.
So Nancy, you said that you have three cats. Oh, your cats are elderly. Okay, and that you're 60, and if the cats, if you die first, you want them to be put to sleep. Um, I have Two things that I think about that. I understand, first of all, completely. They're your cats, they're your heart, and nobody else could love them the way you do. That's the way I feel. I also know someone that has an elderly dog that they got about 5 years ago. Honestly, it's a basset. And the dog doesn't do much, and it turned all gray. And it's just a happy dog. It's like it doesn't, I don't know what the circumstances were, though, if somebody passed and they took it over or somebody brought it in or whatever. So, what do you think about that, Kim? What do you
Well,
think?
I would say, of course, it's individual,
Sure,
but
of
in
course. Yeah,
general, we almost, oh, if we're healthy, we want to continue living, right?
sure.
Even if we're elderly, if we usually we want to continue. But I would say if that animal, I wouldn't just jump to the conclusion we need to put them down right away with that person. I would probably say let's see what the grief process is for that animal,
Hmm.
and then go from there and see. I would generally, if there's three cats together, my thought would be keep the cats together in a new,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then I mean if they get along, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, my big Sheltie and my lab, they didn't really get along, but they always slept out back in the garage at night. And now my Sheltie won't go in there.
Oh,
And my lab was very aggressive to her, but not very nice. But
okay.
they knew each other for a long time,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
isn't. I can see her sadness. I definitely
Yes,
can.
and I know I ran into that last weekend too. Somebody was going to do that.
Nancy, no one may take them, and I'm not judging you, and neither is Kim. Whatever it is that you decide is your choice. I don't want you to feel that you're being judged, but I
Right.
understand.
Yeah, I understand. It's yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah, it is a hard one, especially if you're alone and they're with you, and that's the only thing you have, really. And it's very
Yeah,
difficult. So,
I don't know. I would probably honestly maybe talk to an animal communicator and
yeah.
see their opinion about it.
Uh
That's
huh.
that's before I would make a decision. That's probably what I would do.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
You know.
Yeah. That would be cool because then you could also learn some other things. Like they'll say, I don't like it when you give tuna, and I don't, or, that would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Yes. And I'm going to say animals see angels too, just like people, you know,
Uh
maybe a
huh.
bit more, and they see it maybe even throughout their life. But
I
I
agree.
remember my German Shepherd was about to die, and I didn't
Hmm.
think he was going to die. But my cat, I know, saw the angel, and I knew that at that moment she
Yeah.
was the angel. And then I thought, okay, this is it probably. And my German Shepherd did die that night, but my
Wow.
German Shepherd was not sick.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that because my Sheltie was the one we had problems with. She had to go in and have a cauliflower ear and all kinds of other things taken care of. And soon after, my Sable, my lab just went downhill. And
Oh well, yeah.
and I find that that's true of humans.
Hmm.
My mother used to take care of my dad who couldn't breathe and couldn't do what he couldn't live without me taking care of him, so to speak. He had emphysema.
Hmm.
And she died. And
Hmm.
now he's alone. And he has to do it anyway. I mean, we watched over him, but we never know. We never know who's the first one or the one left behind. Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Um, oh, I see some more new people here. Kay Scarborough, welcome. Um, IVs under your cat's skin. Wow. T-Barb, does your cat eat now on its own? Or are you still feeding them? Kim and Allie, can you connect with our dog India? Well, I'm not going to put the pressure on Kim because this is our first time together, and reading online here is difficult, but that's up to her.
Yeah. Is Indy in spirit?
Looks like it. She was a service dog, it says.
Mm. Well, I'm just getting this impression, and I'm getting the chills. I think this once a service dog, always a service dog.
Hmm.
This dog is still with her. No, always
Mm.
holding her hand. There's no separation there. Um, they are going to see each other again for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great, Lise. Well, that's great. I hope you feel that. I definitely feel my animals around me. and I feel as though they push me in the right direction. Let's put it that way. When I may be walking down the wrong path, they're there for me to protect me. So let's see. Oh wow, Nancy, you have 15. So your cats are 15, 13, and 11. They are elderly. Yeah, they are elderly. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, yeah. I think I heard of a cat living to be 30 the other day or something like that. But
oh my.
mm-hmm.
I
Does that,
heard a dog was like 23 or something. That blew me away.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was a bigger dog. It was like a German Shepherd, but it
Oh,
was just, yeah, yeah,
wow. It
I
reminds me
know.
of people, right? I mean, we have this lifespan for us, but in certain parts of the world, we live to be easily
Yeah,
100 in some places.
absolutely. And they say the new generation could live up to possibly 150 or
Heard
something.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Wow. So we do have a question here. Kay Scarborough wants to know. She says she's working on her healing abilities. Just if do you have any advice for her?
okay about our healing abilities.
Suggestions? Yeah.
Okay, first of all, with Kate, I feel definitely whatever she's doing is coming from the heart, and to focus on the heart, and that's going to lead her whatever direction. But I
Mhm.
also feel this, like I don't know, she might be auditory because I'm getting the idea that she can hear energy, or
Ooh.
hear messages, and that's going to help her also with her healing. Um,
Hmm.
but I feel like this heart is coming out with her hands. But also, I don't know if she sings or speaks, but I feel like there's a healing of thing with her voice as well. Hearing and speaking for me sounds that she's a healer in that way. Does that
That's
resonate? I don't.
yeah. Does that resonate to you, Kay? Kay Scarborough? Like I said, this is our first time. We're not
Yeah.
here to put Kim on the spot because it's something new,
Right. My
yeah,
first
but I appreciate
year. Woohoo! I mean, really, this is.
it.
I came in
Good.
a long time.
Uh-huh. So you are getting something and feeling okay about being asked questions.
Yeah.
Not deeply, but yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, so Kay says, yes, I hear and see, etc. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Hearing,
that's
speaking,
yeah.
the hearing and the speaking to me, her voice is going to be healing. So
Hmm.
with that direction leads her, even if it's hands-on healing and speaking at the same time.
Hmm. Wow,
I just feel like with sound, I don't know, with sound healing or something like that, also like that would
that's
work.
awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I can't tell you what it is. I just have it's for me. It's a knowing. That's all. I don't have that ability to tune in, except that if something resonates with me, and I feel like like with the dog not doing well or whatever, that this is the time, or whatever. It's just a knowing that's there. So.
Did you get the same impression, Ollie, about her healing?
Um, yeah, I think she's a work in progress, and I think that looks like she's jumped into it with chakras and everything, and that's the way you got to do it. You know what I mean? And I think it reveals itself to you
Uh,
what your best thing is as you go along,
and it can change.
and it can change. It
Yes,
can change. Yeah.
sometimes we're very clairvoyant that can maybe be put to sleep for a while and then become clairaudient. So yes, as we go through our journey, we change.
Right.
And it's our guides. Okay, now you're going to work on this. Now we're going to show you that you're good at this. That's what I feel.
Yeah. And I don't know about the rest of you. Maybe you all do this, but I talk for my animals to people. Like she says this, she's saying this, or I'm just being sort of a jokester with it. But maybe I can hear it, and I just feel it. T. Barb says she has the same thing, just knowing. It's
Knowing.
like, yeah, I can see in their eye, like when they give you the stink eye. I know everybody knows what that means because they have an animal that will look at them with a side glance, and just say, okay, that's BS.
Yeah, yeah.
Good, Nancy.
I want to
Good.
just mention, if you don't mind, this is a little bit
Sure.
off this. Maybe we're switching a little bit. I just want to
It's
say,
okay.
when we see things on the internet, um, back to like our fear of death and things, and there's a lot of angels of death, um, and we may, and their way they're portrayed on the internet is kind of scary looking.
It is
You know, have you
huge.
seen it with the black wings and pointy and things like that? But um, you have to say that must be a human doing that, because when, at least from my perspective, when I've seen what I call Archangel Azrael, who comes in as an angel of death, did not look anything like that.
Hmm.
Looked
Hmm.
like his total like soft fuzzy purple light, not scary in the least. So I don't know if people are getting in their abilities. Don't always don't always rely on what the internet says things are.
Right.
Go within yourself,
Right. Does this sound right to me? Right.
your
Yep.
experience.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that you brought that up because um, I I mean, I didn't grow up in the, I went to church when I was a young girl, and I used to teach Sunday school and everything up in the northern part of the country. I was in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very different the way that you're brought in. You're not brought in under the fear basis. You're brought in under the love basis in this particular
Mm-hmm.
organization. I still don't go to that church now, but I
Mm-hmm.
went to the South.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I was shaking in my boots
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot, not just online, but there's a lot that's being said that is dark. It's dark. Its focus is it needs to lighten up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those people are on TV or on the internet, and they talk
Yeah.
about these things. Yeah,
Yeah. We just have to really be careful what we
we
listen to.
do. We
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Um, I was one of the things that I found in this book. I'm just going to read part of the joy in developing a spiritual life is the discovery of the gift that you had that you never suspected you had. When you take the time to draw on your listening imagination, you will hear this voice in the heart of your life.
Mm-hmm.
All holiness is learning to hear the voice of your own soul. It's always there, and the more deeply you learn to listen, the greater the surprises and discoveries that will unfold.
Nice.
It is. It's beautiful. I don't know if you've all have heard of John O'Donohoe,
Uh-huh.
but I'm reading this with a friend of mine, so we can talk about it actually in in a month or so on this channel. But it everything that he writes is beautiful, and so I've been taking too long reading it because I have to write it all down so I could remember what it is. So yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Oh, Serafina, you're going to meet with Kim on Monday. That's great. That's
Yeah.
good to know. So I do want to mention that Kim is available to you
Mhm.
for readings, and her YouTube channel is Medium Kim.
Right. One
But
word.
also, just one word, and you also have a Facebook or Instagram or
I
something.
have a Facebook, but I don't use that so much. I have a website,
Okay.
medium.com. Yeah. And I'm behind in Instagram. I need to start using it. My son has,
I don't have Facebook, so I use Instagram.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
use Facebook too much, but
Yeah.
I know I got to get back in the, in the modern day to start using it.
Well, all of this is very new to you if you've only been doing it for 6 weeks. So I
Well,
applaud you.
the YouTube
Really?
I've only been doing for 6 weeks.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. I've done other stuff for a lot longer, but
For a
yes,
lot longer. Right. And you have on your website, I'm sorry, on your YouTube, you have a link to your website. I think I did go there and look at it, and it was
yes.
wonderful. That's how I knew you did hospice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, we have a little bit of time left. And oh, T Barb, you're right. I'm not condemning anybody in the South. They are loving and kind. Absolutely. I lived there for 7 years. I had a lot of friends, and I actually lived all over the country. I tried to dip my toes in every sort of different colloquial language and lifestyle. And only been out here for since 2008 in near Seattle. So
Okay. Well,
uh,
I personally lived in Portland, Oregon for about 20 years,
wow,
where I did most of my hospice work. But now I'm here in the San Marcos, Austin area.
which is a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful part of Texas.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Yes, she is.
I am seeing definitely there's a culture change.
Yeah. No, definitely is. Yeah.
Mhm.
And It would be even in Texas, there's a culture change from San Marcos to Dallas or Houston or El Paso. There's just, it's almost its own country, isn't it? It seems like it. Yeah,
No,
it's big.
unfortunately, they think it is here.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I understand. So, oh, you're in San Antonio. Well, San Antonio is beautiful too. I love the river walk there. Very
Yeah,
nice. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I met
Um,
somebody from San Antonio the other day.
Really? Okay. Well, if you're ever there in that part of Texas, definitely go to San Marcos. Definitely go to Fredericksburg. They
Yeah,
have a beautiful little town there with little shops and Bluebonnet Festival and all that stuff. And it's so pretty. It's a different whole thing.
yeah.
So,
Wimberley is nice as well. There's
uh-huh.
there's a lot of little towns here that are beautiful.
There really are. Yeah.
I'm gonna
So in
go ahead.
did you go to school in Portland? I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt
well,
you.
let's
No.
see here. It's a long story. My life is a long story.
Okay.
I was actually born in Oklahoma, and I only
Okay.
lived there till I was 5. And then we moved to Michigan, New Jersey. Then I was in Washington State for a while. Um,
You're
then
like me,
Texas.
all over the
Tennessee.
place.
Yeah,
Oh,
I lived in
okay.
Oregon though longer than anywhere else.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then probably Texas might be my second place because I was here as a teenager too in Texas.
Okay. But it's much different there from that time than it is this time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm still learning, and plus I was in Houston and now I'm in San Marcos. So,
Okay.
I'm still. Plus with COVID, I haven't been out since I've been here
Right.
because
Right.
I'm pretty new here. I've only been
Mm.
here in this neighborhood about 6 months, and so
Oh,
I have not experienced a lot of the culture yet.
sure. Sure. But there is a lot to see. So,
Hmm.
Nancy wants to know where you were in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Right. All
and yeah,
right.
and yeah, we my dad worked for Ford Motor Company, and so he was just transferred.
Ah, okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
Uh-huh.
back in those days, people transferred.
They did. Yeah, they did. Although now people pick up and move actually even more than they did. I remember in the 60s, my we decided to move to California for my father's health. Or I
Hmm.
don't know why. And it didn't work out. But anyway, we did move. We moved all the way across the country to California.
Hmm.
And there was a man that was watching my father pack the trunk of the car
Uh-huh.
in 1964. And he said, "Where are you going?" And my dad said, "Well, I'm going to California or out west or something." And the man said he'd never even been to Boston. And
Wow.
we were 40 miles north of Boston.
Wow.
So, we are more um, mobile than certainly that time period. But
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
was quite the experience for me because I ended up going down through the South. And that was during the civil rights time. And we were shocked. We had no idea, because it was culture shock to see
Hmm.
everything separated, black and white and everything else. So,
Oh
but
my.
it really expands the way you think about things and
Yeah,
how you look at that.
yeah, I'm glad I had the experience because when I came back, I felt like the people here are so nice though. Really
Uh-huh.
could not be friendlier, nicer.
Yeah.
Even senses they're too nice here.
They have those college kids out, and so they want that dynamic there, and when you live in a college town, you have to sort of be nice, or you're not going to have much business either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, yes, there's that too. So, but I've
Yeah.
enjoyed do hospice. I still do hospice work, part
Mhm.
time, and
Good.
I've enjoyed very much the people that I've met here, and
That's great.
amazing
That's
experiences. And
Yep. That's great.
mm-hmm.
So, well, does anybody have any more questions for Kim and I here today? It's been a great talk. One of the things that I find so important, and it's your plan to bring the idea of talking about death and dying to people that
Mm-hmm.
you know when I first came on the channel, which I've only been here since November, I had discussed Man's Search for Meaning, which was Viktor Frankl, and I just I that's my it's like a sad story, but it's my favorite book on resilience and
Uh-huh.
how somebody has. And then I in classes teach the death of Ivan Illich, and most of the time had nurses. When I was working at one college, I had a whole all my students sometimes were nurses, and so they read it, and I felt like it was excellent humanities for them because it was something that they were going to be faced with, of course. And so,
Hmm. Hmm. It's still interesting that I see nurses who still aren't comfortable, and doctors as well, who are
yeah,
not comfortable with the death.
yeah. Um, I'm surprised because it is an inevitability with those people. They're going to see it at some point or another. But
Well, some
wow,
people feel like it's a failure,
yes,
or what I find in the hospitals is that they're afraid to give pain medicine because they think that's going to make them overdose. And we're talking not a very big dose, but they're afraid to do that, and that's
yeah,
disappointing.
yeah. What do
Because
you think about the people that are so terminal that they and Portland was one of the first places that they could effectively die by their own hand.
physician
So-
suicide. Um,
yes.
yeah. So, well, I think it's great that people have choices.
Mhm.
People think, oh my gosh, everybody's going to be doing physician assisted suicide, but they actually aren't. It's
No, they're
very
not.
rare
Yeah.
because one, you have to have two doctors to sign it off. The
Right.
medicine is $6,000,
Oh,
and you
really?
have to be able to drink it yourself. It's an elixir. So if
Okay.
you so if you're doing this, you have to have the wherewithal and the strength to do that. And honestly, it's so rare that that can actually happen.
I agree with you. There was one girl that was recently that did it recently within the last few years, but I was the only one I really, it wasn't like Kevorkian used to administer a shot or something. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't like that, but she was apparently going to get so much pain that she just decided that that's
Hmm.
what she wanted to do. But
Yeah.
and there's a whole group of shows on. Is it on Netflix? I think it's on Netflix about different ways to die
Uh-huh.
and different types of funerals and things like that.
Oh, yes.
And
Okay.
yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I
Different.
know in Texas, since we don't have that physician assisted suicide, people can die by voluntarily not eating or drinking. So that
Right.
I see that happen. And so what happens with that? I just recently had that happen,
Hmm.
and what ha- this man, by the time he said, "Okay, I'm going to stop eating and drinking on Monday," that was the day he decided he was going to do that. But by Saturday and Sunday, he wasn't able to swallow anyway. So it kind of worked together. So
Okay.
sometimes it just works like that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a little bit hard, and some people linger for a long time, and that's
Mhm.
hard to watch.
Sure.
Um,
Wasting away.
I
Yeah.
think it's nice if people have you know choices, but I also believe that most of the time, almost all the time, we can treat pain. So that I think one of the things people fear is pain when they're dying, and
Correct.
but we there are medicines that work very well for pain. It's very rare is pain not well controlled.
Hmm. Whereas in the past it would have been astronomical. They couldn't have probably contained it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean,
Sure. The advancements. Yeah. Are
actually we're kind of going back to some old medicines, even like methadone, for instance, is a very good pain medicine. Even morphine was used a long time ago, World War II, I guess. And
yes.
commonly used one as well, but it doesn't treat all the different pains.
Correct. Correct. I can't take it. I remember having it after an operation, like surgery, and I saw like ants crawling all over me. Oh, it just
Yeah.
made me hallucinate. And I said, no, I'm
Uh-huh.
just not a drug person. So
Well, there's different ones, right?
yeah,
It's just,
yeah, sure. Everybody's different too.
mhm.
Some other
we,
people say it didn't bother them at all. So yeah,
well,
my,
we all have our own energy. We're our own energy system. So what works for me, I know
yeah,
whether it's blueberries works for me or blueberries. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah, I do.
whatever
I do.
reacts to your body. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
individual.
It definitely is. Well, my father did what you said when it was not eating and drinking. He knew he couldn't breathe, and they
Hmm.
had tubes in him, and they were feeding him, and he just said, "Please, no more tubes." I
Hmm.
think they left. I'm pretty sure they left him with some kind of water, or they can't just take all of them out, can they? Even the
Yeah,
water? Oh,
yeah.
they can.
Yes.
And that's what he did. That's what
Hmm.
he didn't last very long. I think he lasted 2 or 3 days at the most.
Okay.
But
Yeah, because if you're overhydrated and if your
yeah.
body's not metabolizing it, you can actually have edema and then it becomes more uncomfortable.
Oh, sure.
So it's
Because you
all,
blow up, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
the thing is, by not eating, when you can't eat or drink, it's just a natural process,
Uh-huh.
right? It's your body's signal that um,
Yep.
it's time.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
the throat muscles that stop working.
it stopped working. That's happening to a
Mhm.
friend of mine, but she has Lou Gehrig's, so they had to put a tube in.
Uh-huh.
Um, T Barb says, follow Ask a Mortician on YouTube. Funeral costs don't have to be 20,000. Oh yeah, no. Mine are cremate me. I don't
Mhm.
even want to be in the ground.
But
Don't even bother. But
even
everybody's different.
the can change, can vary.
It can. Yeah. But no, it's funny when my not funny, but when my mother was dying and she died, and we went to look at the caskets because she wanted to be buried.
Hmm.
We picked out a very nice casket. It wasn't the just a pine box, but it was like maybe brushed oak. But she's not going to see it. She's not even there. I remember saying that. My dad felt so bad. It's, oh, we're only getting her this one. I said, Dad, really? I said, she doesn't care. Funny though. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't stay there.
No,
I don't think they
it's
ever really go there.
like people. I know, and people go to the cemetery and they mourn. It's fine. It's good to do, but they're not there. They're with you. They're at your house.
Yeah, you just have
Oh,
your house, the candle or the picture, and
right.
that's where they.
That's where they are, or they're right here. Yeah, in your heart. Yeah. Thank you so much. What a great bunch of conversations that we have. I hope you come back and see me again. You're
Love to.
welcome anytime.
Oh,
And I wish you well with your new business and or
thank you.
business flourishing
For
in the
the
change.
yeah, the
Yeah.
YouTube, but the YouTube is a blast.
It
So
is, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
it
is.
really
Thank you, and I
is.
wish you well as well. Thank you for having me, and
Sure.
we'll definitely have to stay connected. This is a wonderful community.
It is. It
It's
is.
amazing.
It is. These people that are here, I bless you all. Thank you for coming by
Yeah,
because we couldn't do it without you. You really,
yes,
really wonderful. And thank you for subscribing and liking and all that. And we'll be back. We'll be back again. Blessings to you.
you know.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.